Hello, welcome back. And today, or all of this next week, I want us to really start getting this dock scene looking a little bit better. I'm going to be using these modified scale seam buildings. So I'm going to, I think you might have already seen this one, but I've just started to make the end section. I'm just going to have that, the loading chute here, and then just a canal barge sat there. I just wanted to work out how the track's going to sit. So there's going to be just the one track going in. So I need to just get that laid, get it across the board and cut. The bridge should be about 2 of these wide. So I'm going to need to modify the canal so it comes more like round there. So I'll fill that in with some card, something like that. Wasn't sure on how I was going to do that when I cut it out, but yeah, it's definitely going to need to go like that. And with the bridge there, obviously I'm going to need to just fill that with just a piece of embankment, which will be 85mm. That's the idea of this. So the whole of this section will go right down to about here where the viaduct's going to go. And it's been doing that all the last sort of 15-20 minutes, everything falling off as I reach over. But yeah, this will then all be raised up 85mm. I'll put a back to these that goes onto the top deck. So the road will come across, go into sort of a central factory here, and I'll have these 2 low relief factories on the backs there. The bridge will carry on coming across, and I really want it to sort of come down, but obviously I'm going to have to make it quite a gradual come down, so it can then flow into the rest of the layout. And I'm just starting to plan this part out, which is the traction maintenance depot. And I've got a sort of a mix of points left over, which some are electrofrog, some are set track, so I need to use 2 set track ones there, so I can only use Insul frog there. I'm hoping that I've got a couple more electrofrog ones that I can use. And I think that will be okay, because I'm going to have the refueling here, an engine shed sort of roughly here, and just a few sidings. Then it's not going to be a massive end, you know, but there will be hard standing around here, so that one will sort of go back a little bit further. It's not going to be the biggest traction maintenance depot, but it's going to have plenty of storage for sticking a few diesel locomotives on it. You know, gives a lot more interest, a lot more detail. But I mean, the main task is to try and get this section done, but I do want to get that track laid, so I know exactly where I'm going to put the viaduct once I start working on that. But bridge I'm going to have to sort of build and put a couple of pillars, quite a few pillars in, and I want it 85mm high, so that's what the embankment that I've got. Obviously I could make the embankment higher if I wanted to, but it just means photoshopping a load of more stuff, and I've got it all already at 85mm, so I'm going to use it at that. So that's where this is at the moment. So the first thing to do is get this track done. I need to put in the extra copper clad sleepers in there, glue them in, and then cut it. So that's where I'm going to be now. So come back and you'll see some changes. Right, the dock scene, obviously coming along. I've got the track now. and I've measured all that up, and I've just cut some blocks. None of them are secure, but this will be, the top will go on that, and then I can lift it all off and then just put it on when I need it. And the bridge, this isn't going to be the bridge by the way, but I was thinking the bridge could actually, because it's going to be a removable section, it could go over the gap, and then that would hide all of these, especially the ones that I've got on the wrong angle. So that would be perfect. So I was just making sure I've got right height on there. So I've made these 65 high, or is it, no, I've made these 70 high to give plenty of clearance. This is going to become the viaduct, and what I have got is that's going to go along the back here, and then come around sort of like that, a slight angle there. So, and I've made all of, cut everything. I've got the deck to go, so it should actually work out quite nice. And this will just be a removable section as well, so you just lift it out, and that is going to just be a single track, and I'll put a shuttle system on that, I think. But I don't know how to hide the ends just yet, where the locomotives will stop and then terminate and then reverse back up. But I mean, that's a long way off, so I'm not too worried. I just want to get the basics of this done. Obviously I'm going to get lots of paper textures and make sure that this looks like a proper viaduct rather than an MDF piece. But I'm making it out of MDF, so it'll be nice and sturdy. And all the inside I've got blocks to set that up. And just to let you know, I've actually decided to nail these down, just tacks, the gauge master track tacks. And one of the reasons for that is because it's a portable layout, it's going to be taken apart quite often, and I was just worried that it was going to get caught on something and then pull them all apart and all off and ruin the layout. So I thought I'd give it a little bit more secure fixing, and I just used a 1.5mm hole and just tack those in. Really, they're just some gauge master tacks, but you obviously get a huge amount. I don't need that many because I'm only not tacking all the track down because that's PVA glued. I've also got all the tracks laid out for the traction maintenance depot. This I haven't fixed in yet because I've got the inspection pit to fit in there, but this area will become the traction maintenance depot. I want to do hard standing all on here, so it'll be fun just where this gap is, so I can make it as seamless as possible. It's not going to be the biggest traction maintenance depot, and my main vision was to try and get it in here, but it just wasn't going to fit. I've tried to use as many streamline points as possible, but I do have two, a little bit stiff that, new, but yeah, I do have two set track ones there, just because of space more than anything. It doesn't really detract too much from it, so but it would have been nice if I could have fitted all streamline in. I put a couple of wide points in here because of the space as well, and that gives the feel. So I want sort of it to come like that, and then once it's all hard standing, it should look quite good. And then once I've got the inspection pit in there, I can get the building finished. Well, I haven't even started it yet, so and I'm still working on the building for the dock scene, so there's a lot to do. So hopefully I can crack on and show you some more. Right, this is going to be the top deck, So you can see it looked like quite a busy junction with locomotives or trains that could run on several different lines. That's the idea of this. Made a slight mistake here because I need to put a retaining wall there because I want to hide that track, and I should have cut it to there and then come across, but not to worry, I can fill that in with card, make the bridge out of card. I wasn't sure if this was too narrow. I've made it 3 inches roughly, so by the time I put the walls on the side and the I'm not sure, but like I said, I could always bring that out with some card anyway, just make that a little bit bigger. Now I wasn't sure whether to angle this because I don't like the straight line, but when I sort of just tested it on an angle, I just didn't really like it, you know, sort of thing. So I'm going to just see how it goes. So the next thing to do is just build the viaduct at the back and then see how they work together. And then I'm going to glue all these supports down, and then this top will just drop on, and then the buildings will just drop in place. So it could all be removed, you know, nice and easy. I'm not sure whether to glue all the supports onto the board or just onto this board. So, and then if I glue them just onto this board, I could actually have a completely rethink of this area in the future. So I may just get them all, but it's just making sure that I'm not going to have any problems with rolling stock hitting the supports if it's not put in place that well. So, but you can see the sort of effect to start with. Right, I have all the basic structure for the high level factories, and there's the part of the dock that's below it, and then I've created the embankment. So I'm hoping that this, okay, it's quite a basic structure at the moment. I've still got to cut the holes for all the tracks. Some of the glue's still drying, but I just wanted to just see how it looks and how much space we've got, and there actually is quite a lot more space here. So it'll be interesting what I can do in this. So obviously that's the traction maintenance depot, so I've got some traction maintenance buildings that can go in there, some depot buildings I think, so just seems to be a bigger space than I was expecting. I'm not 100% sure if I really like it at the moment. I know that sounds quite strange, but I'm not always that keen on when you see a curve going round like this sort of thing and then disappearing. Sort of shows sort of fakeness, but there's not a lot I can do about that apart from, you know, really have the seam just as a really small piece in the middle, and didn't really want that. But it's, you know, obviously I've got a better sort of view of the disappearing, you know, so it gives more of an impression it goes sort of straight on there into a lot further, and also gives you a bit more impression that there could be a bigger junction here. I'm actually going to think about what name I'm going to call this, because I don't want to just keep calling it 8 foot by 4 foot, you know. But you can see I missed one when I was gluing them. I don't know how that happened. First time I've taken that off actually, so I'll have to put a drop of glue on there. But the idea of this is it's just so you take it off, get to all the tracks, clean everything, And also, like I said in many times, it's a portable layout, so it's going to be taken apart and moved. I'm going to actually move it very shortly, but and just keep all the boards, because I've got to do the wiring for all the extra track that I laid, so that will be completed soon. I've got an idea of how to make this gap a little bit better as well, so it seems to have got worse, I think. Yeah, I just need to double check if I've got it clipped in at the back, but I sort of hidden that one quite well by just giving it quite a few coats of paint and it just disappeared. But I'm not worried about that one, so I need to work on tidying that up, because that's a bit of an eyesore. So I'm going to try and fill it with some card and things like that, and then give it a paint over, and hopefully it'll to fit and blend in when I put a few more textures over and things like that. But it's obviously not going to be like grass textures and everything like that so much. There will be weeds, but it's going to be harder to disguise things like that. Why, with the load of grass textures, I could have just covered that and it would have just disappeared. So I'm going to have a really good think on how to get this to look like a professional layout again, because when you see it like this, it is quite hard to sort of see the finished product in your mind again. But I'm happy that we've got the bridge, and then I want to do something so it comes down here, a gradual slope down, probably on a curve like that, and then into, so vehicles could get into the traction maintenance depot. So it's got to be quite a good gentle slope going down, and everything that I've looked at, you know, I just don't really like, you know, I'm not going to use those Metcalfe slopes or anything like that. I'm just not keen. So I need to work out how I'm going to do that and how I'm going to get it to look realistic. I know scale scenes do some like that, but even that I wasn't that keen on, so but bear with me. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I can get much more done. So all the basic structures there, well, I'm going to cut the holes in the board so I can actually run some trains again, because at the moment they would just straight hit that back scene and same under here. So that's my next job. I just want to let all the glue dry first, get the holes cut. I know I could have cut them before I made it, but I wasn't 100% sure where they was all going to go, and I wanted to physically see the back pieces in place. So let's get those cut, and then so the last jobs for this week is get those two pieces cut, the rest of the track wired, tested. I want to put the just on here, I think if I can get that in this week, definitely want to put in, because I need to fit this piece of track, but I can't fit it until I put the inspection pit in, and then the engine shed can go over there. It's only going to be a single road engine shed, diesel depot, and I think that'll look quite good. I've done it on a slight angle, just to take some of the straightness out of the layout, and also gives me a little bit more room. Sorry about that, just knocked a bottle over. And then the refueling rig will be here, so that was the plan on that. Right, I've got all the holes cut in the back. I've tested it with the coaches, make sure I've got plenty of clearance, and just knock that one off. But I've used the longest coaches that I've got, and all that looks good. I've got to work out how I'm going to do the bridge on that, whether it's going to be a viaduct type bridge or a girder bridge there. So that's yet to come. So what I have got is all nicely done all the way down, and I've done the hole on the other side. So it means that I can run models again without them crashing into the scenery. So it limits what you actually see of the layout, and I think really you can still get quite a good track plan, and it sort of gives a indication of, let me zoom out a little bit, indication of quite a good busy track plan really. I still wasn't sure whether to reduce this and do it on an angle and then the bridge come across there, but I'm going to wait and see, because it is a big space where I need a lot of buildings to fill that, and and then you need a lot of detail to go on it. So that's going to be tricky, but I need to work out how that's going to go. But it's sort of will look quite good. Some sidings with just some locomotives just sat on the ends. I think that would be okay. But also gives you enough to store, say, a couple of wagons at the back or a couple of coaches, something like that. So then you could pull that out onto the main line and then run it round. So it would give the impression it's a busy junction. So, but I need to work out a signal system for that. But yeah, I'm quite happy so far. I think my next steps is just to get the layout back up and running, and start to get all the track gaps filled. So I need to get some sleepers, fill all these gaps in. All the traction maintenance depots all wired, so I do need to test that, clean it and test it. I think that'll be another thing, but I just want to get all these dummy sleepers in place, I think, and then I can start weathering the track. As you can see, the dockside building's coming along. It's not progressing as fast as I can. It's taking a lot longer to build than I was really expecting. And I was looking at this section here. I mean, it's not fixed down or anything, it's just a removable section, but it's just too big and too straight. So I'm going to do my sort of usual and adapt the layout. So what I've decided to do is do it at an angle like this. So I'm going to lose this bridge there, it's going to go here, and I think it will give you a bit more track view. I mean, one of the reasons why I did it straight up to this edge was to hide these joiners, board joiner sleepers, but that doesn't really matter. They'll disappear a little bit once it's ballasted anyway. So I'm going to go and get my circular saw, and I'm just going to chop all that. Probably don't really need a circular saw for 3mm, but I think it'll give me a straighter cut than doing it by hand. So I'm going to do that, and if it all goes wrong, I'll just buy a new piece of board. But I can't envision it going wrong. And I think that'll just look better. The bridge will go straight there, go straight across there, something like that, and then it will be very much joined up to where the mill is then, and then I was just going to do an arch bridge here and an arch bridge over the canal. So then I would just use something not obviously that tall, but something like that for the end where the bridge is for the canal. And I think that's going to be much better, because then it gives you an angle rather than this straight edges. Railways, you never see straight edges, never see straight bridges. So I'm going to just do that now. I'm hoping this is sturdy enough. Should be alright. not going to drill. I'm not going to saw through the trellis again. Right. Just need to move that a little bit. Check that. Yeah, that's okay. I just want to make sure I've got the right. This is a bit wobbly, so I'm hopefully no accidents happen. I'm terrible with power tools. There, no going back. Well, if I wanted to, I'd have to go and buy a new piece. I would say that's definitely going to be better. Gives you a bit more track view. So you've got some locomotives sat on here. I think it'll look better. So I'm glad I did that now. I wasn't going to do that until today. And then I sort of was just thinking, something I want to change. It just doesn't look right. So now I need to make the bridge go across here. And then just put a piece in there, you know, and I'm going to just do 2 arches for that, girder bridge across there, and then another girder bridge across there, and then we can do the roadway down from the upper deck. It just takes away that huge block of squareness on the layout, and also, I don't have to build so many buildings now, so I can get away with a few. Well, it's not many less. It's probably about 1 less building, and they do take a long time to build. So, right, next job. Well, it's that time again on a Friday, and I think I've done as far as I can this week. I've not got as much as I'd like to do. Still not quite finished that building. I'm not going to put the roof on until I've decided how it's going to go, because I need to build the back, and I think that would be the better way of doing it. So that's one of the reasons why I have left the roof off at the moment, but I've still got to make the water tank, and I want to do this roof here, which will do a flat piece there, and then apex roof. I've got, now this is sort of at an angle, it does look better, and I've just sort of temporarily put some girders bridge sides on there, just to give me a sort of an idea of how it will go. So it'll end there, you'll have a pillar there, we'll have another pillar there and a pillar there. Obviously I'm going to need to put a pillar there, but that's going to be a bit thinner, and then one here, and I think that would actually look quite good. Let me just see if you can see that a little bit better. Sorry for all the light coming through, but I also want to try and start to just feel, sort of see how it feels with some buildings on there. And I thought these buildings at the back there, they are low relief, but the idea is you're looking at it from here and it should give you a feel of more depth, I think. I want to put some low relief buildings all the way along here, and then put a main building in the middle. So I do need to build some low relief ones for there, and something in the middle. I don't know what I'm going to choose for that, whether it's a kit or a kit bashed or a scratch built, but I don't know whether I've got time to fully build something, so I might see what's available. Then I want to do the slope down. So there's a lot of work still to do on this layout. I'm only just sort of so the slope will go down towards traction maintenance depot, and I just thought at the end of the video we'll run some locomotives, and I've chose an A2 and a let's just come back, and a Bachmann 57XX. So it's 2 Bachmann locos. It's mostly Dapol wagons, and just trying to think who makes the coaches. I need to just double check on that, what coaches they were. They were mainline coaches. I just had a quick look at the box, I'd just forgotten, and it's an Airfix coach on the end. They are quite heavy, and they're not exactly the freest sort of locomotive stock, I would say. And I don't know if you've noticed, I've actually just dropped an odd wagon into a siding there, and it's just a bit of a nod, you know, as Thomas was 80 this year. I thought, I noticed this was in my truck collection, and I don't have anything else to show, so, but let's get these running. Right, I'm going to have to stop that because okay, I'm going to start that again. So I'm going to set the A2 off first this time. I don't know why it just got stuck at the back. I've not actually tested it with any coaches, and this was quite a troublesome loco. When I reviewed it, it kept derailing on set track points. So well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this update. Obviously, I would have liked to have got a lot more done, but it's very time consuming. I've spent quite a lot of the time this week on this layout, getting more tracks laid, more wiring, more testing. Some buildings started to come to shape, and you know, it's very time consuming. You can't just bring a layout and just get it working within a day. So but I will say, you know, it will start to progress, you know, and there is sort of I'm feeling a little bit more happier with this layout now. You know, I sort of wasn't sure on how it was going to look, and when I had that huge piece in the corner here, they was sort of dominating the whole of this section. It just didn't look right. So, and I'm glad I moved the bridge over to there and made it at an angle, because that does look much better than what it should have done. But anyway, I hope to see you on the next video, and I wish you a very good evening, a very good rest of the day, and take care.